Ladies and gentlemen, candidate for U.S. Congressional Missouri 8th District, Opposition Party, Doug Enyart.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Brian, and the rest of the Tea Party members who are working here and putting this on. Thanks for having me, and I feel like I'm in a room full of friends because I know so many of you here. There are a lot of people, faces out there that I know don't know me. I'll give you some personal information here in a moment. But one thing that I'd like to begin with is to make perfectly clear, I am not Bill Enyart. I'm not the guy across the river over in Illinois. I don't know how I got so unlucky as to have someone with a last name like mine peppering a good portion of my district with some negative campaigning involving my last name. So, it seems like something that should be associated with a common name, maybe like, Mr. Smith. But here we are, and I want to make perfectly clear that I'm not Bill Enyart, I'm Doug Enyart. I hail from Piedmont. This is my wife sitting on the front row on this side. My wife for 37 years. 37 years ago, I married my high school sweetheart. We have 3 grown children. None of them are on welfare. No EBT cards. They all hold jobs, actually. They all pay their bills. They all pay taxes. But we'd like to work on that one. I am a professional forester. I have a consulting forestry business in Piedmont. I have been an employer. Thankfully, I am no longer an employer, and I don't think I want to go back there. But I'm an employer who has dealt with government regulations. Furthermore, in the conduct of my business, I have had to deal with numerous government regulations on various levels, the state, the federal. I'm not so upset about the local because all I have to do is buy a business license. But at this very time, I am fighting with the Corps of Engineers, so I have some experience to bring to this office. The Corps of Engineers has issued me a notice of violation accompanying me with my client for building a pond on their land in a dry stream bed. So if you want somebody with some experience, he's standing before you. Now, Brian sent out an email to the candidates, and one of the things that he said was, you're going to have 6 minutes to tell us why we should hire you to do this job. I kind of picked up on that idea. I've used it before, but why should you hire me to do this job? Well, if I were you, I would want to hire somebody who knows the Constitution. Who better to know the Constitution but the Constitution Party candidate? Constitution Party, as the name would imply, we are pretty high on the Constitution, as it was originally intended. If I were you, I would want to hire somebody to represent me in Congress who not only is associated with the Constitution Party, but has been studying very hard, studying the Constitution and our founding very hard, and I continue to do so. If I were you, I would want to hire someone who has studied the Constitution well enough to know that the General Welfare Clause was originally intended to mean all the laws apply to all the people equally all the time. And how do we know this? Well, the founders left us ample evidence in the Federalist Papers. In fact, I have a copy of that out in the Jeep if you'd like to see it a little bit later. Some of the words of James Madison. He was pretty explicit. Okay, so private welfare, whether to an individual or to a corporation, doesn't belong in the Constitution. It's not there. How did we get it? We the people went to sleep. We didn't hold our representatives accountable. They just thought of a good idea and said, well, let's do this. But nobody in the room apparently said, no, we can't do that because it's unconstitutional. If I were you, I would want to hire somebody to represent me in Congress who knows that the necessary and proper clause doesn't mean that we can just do anything necessary and proper. You have to read the rest of the story. It says to carry forth the enumerated powers that were given to Congress. That's all they can. And by the way, there's only 20 enumerated powers. Our founders referred to our federal government as the general government most often. They did so because, well, it's just a general government. They left all the power in the states. The states are responsible for implementing civil government. Everything. We only gave them the power to create post offices, post roads, magazines, arsenals, a navy, to defend us. If I were you, I would want to hire someone who knows the Constitution well enough that I'm not going to step outside the boundaries just because it seems like a good idea right now. We have an enormous monstrosity of a federal government. We're pushing, as Brian pointed out earlier on, $18 trillion. Now, nobody in this room is going to make much headway on that. Do you know who's paying for that? Our grandchildren, not only just our grandchildren, it's our great-grandchildren. The debt is so high. Bill Gates' entire fortune would fund the government 15 days. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta stop spending